we go again.
It's Kennedy, my brother from another mother.
What's good, bro?
I got a question for you, bro.
What's up?
Did you see just now that that your boy done pardoned the Chrisleys?
Who? Oh, the Chrisley, the
Yeah,
Chrisleys.
yeah,
Yeah,
the Chrisleys.
Todd and them.
Yeah. So they went to jail, I believe, for like some tax evasion or fraud stuff or whatnot. Though, man, I think the wife and the husband went.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of surprising. Like I think that must maybe I just stepped away, but I think that was something that just popped up a couple minutes ago, though, bro.
Oh, no, I didn't know that, but I used to watch the show.
Yeah. I never knew exactly what they did for a living.
Me neither, but I mean, they were entertaining because I mean, obviously, when you hear him and you see him, he is very feminine, and so of course,
Very.
yeah. So of course, people thought he was gay and stuff like that, but I mean, he was very mannish. He had very feminine tendencies, but I mean, very entertaining. I liked watching him, the kids, the whole, group. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Not exactly mad at that one though. He's done some things that have been questioned. That one for some reason wasn't that mad about, bro.
right. Nah.
Yeah. Memorial weekend though, man. Let's matter of fact, let's get the music on though, bro. We can tap into that right away.
It doesn't matter what your name
The
is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast
If you
of all time.
smell what the rock. It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The greatest podcast of all time.
Hey, listen, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to the Slash Brothers YouTube and Facebook pages and our new TikTok page. We are live on both platforms at the same time. Whenever you click on a notification, you click on the bell, you get the heads up whenever your boys is doing their thing. Ace Kennedy with the fire shirt, by the way.
Appreciate it.
How was Memorial Day weekend for you, man?
It was straight. Charlie had somebody spend the night on Saturday. Friday night I went and sang at Ocana again with Joey, and so that was cool. And uh, had a great time out there. And then, like I said, Saturday had Charlie had people over, and then Sunday, church. The Saturday, of course, the game too. Which who cares? We lost by 40. So what? And then Sunday church. I watched a little bit of the Knicks and the Pacers. And yes, Monday, man, was real straight. Went out, picked up some meat, and finally had my first burn in the grill for the season. So did that. And that was a lot to get the grill going because the last event that I had with the grill, man, I had an error message. And so, man, I had watched a bunch of videos and finally went and picked up a shop vac and vacuumed that thing out and did all the things and didn't seem to have any issues. So I was pretty happy about that. Um, Food came out great. Had it again for lunch today. That time where it gets to just sit and marinate overnight. It was great. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But let me tell you the disrespect my family did, bro. Listen, I called Carly and I was like, "Yo, did y'all eat lunch?" She was like, "Yeah, they ate McDonald's." I said, "Oh, they wasn't messing with your boy cooking, bro."
No?
Nah.
Dang. They was just over the barbecue or what was up with that?
Oh man, I ain't no telling, bro. Ain't no telling. Charlie could have coerced the whole thing. Charlie manipulate the whole system. So But
So
nah,
see the ringleader there, huh?
hey, it don't matter. It just mean more for me for lunch, bro. Cause I threw the chops on there, I threw the chicken on there, some sausage. We had some T-bones. So yeah, I'm about to be eating good for lunch
Oh
for the
yeah,
whole.
yeah. You sound like you was really, really getting to it then.
Yeah, I was out there for about 2 hours. Because I had places to beat it in the evening. So and of course, the Thunder game was coming on that night too. So which was a
Okay.
win. We'll get to that
Yes,
later.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes,
What about
sir.
you, man? What y'all do?
So listen, you know what's crazy about it, man? I had a great time, man. Shout out to my I think I could say this my sister from another mister. No, my homegirl Shamia and the good folks over at Copy Fresh, man. She had crossed over. I don't know what the official name of it is though, man, but she crossed for Delta and for grad chapter. And so I was very happy for her though, man, and everything that she went through to finish her pledging. And they had their first big kind of event over the weekend, though, man. Had a dope time, all white party at this fairly new spot for Snellville. It's a Chicago pizza and a cigar bar. And it's kind of weird because it's like half of it is a restaurant, half of it is like a lounge, kind of sports bar feel. But real dope event though, man. And was glad to kind of listen, dope to see all of these sisters and all these educated brothers on out there. Like when people be talking about and they toss around black excellence and everything like that, this was a microcosm of just that because you talk about all of these highly educated women, all of these highly educated men that were there in support of them. And the cool thing about it is this though, man, while I'm not a big fan of all white parties, just because you know, I don't necessarily like being dressed like everybody else. Like that's my biggest thing. But I thought that this was very cool, real dope. It's grown folk vibes, though, man, because it was a day party as well, though, man. And I think that it was just real cool that while the women were there, I think the men were basically there supporting them as well, though, man. And it was real cool. Me and my bro Cinematic was out there kicking it, though, man. Had a great time, though, man, doing that. Um, and then I think outside of that though, man, I think that we was kind of low key chilling. It was real cool though, man. I actually didn't cook out very much because it had started to rain out this way. So I actually threw some stuff in the oven. I got ribs going that I'm just finishing on up now though, man. So yeah, bro. It was a real chill weekend though, man. Yeah, real chill.
So you mentioned you ain't like all white parties. Number one, what you wear. Number two, well, let you answer that first. Then we'll get to the second part of the question.
So the one thing that I didn't want to wear, I was not wearing pants because I think you and I have talked about this for a long time. I just refuse to ever buy white pants. I'm not wearing no white jeans and I'm not wearing no white linen pants because I just don't feel like I'm old enough yet to appreciate white linen suit like that. That to me, that's older than what my mind tells me. That I'm Doc, I feel like I'm too
Bro,
fly and too young minded, fashion wise, to be wearing linen. I ain't there yet, bro.
I would
I'm just
rock some
not.
white jeans with what you got on right now. What you talking about? I'd bring that white check out of your hoodie, bro. You
And
crazy.
I can see you doing that, and that's
Yes.
fine. I never would. And
Ah,
so my thing is that I don't wear white sweats. I just don't wear, and the reason I might wear white sweats before I wear white pants, just white. And I think the biggest reason for that is that I would only wear white pants at an all white event. And that's to me a once every 2, 3 year kind of thing. I just don't really have a need to wear white pants like that, bro. I just don't. So I can honestly say, bro, I'm pretty comfortable in saying I don't think I've ever bought a pair of white pants in my entire life. I don't think I've ever owned a pair of white pants. I've owned some white shorts that I've had for all white events, but I've never owned a pair of white pants in my life. And God willing, I never will, bro.
that is tragic. So the second part of the question. You say you don't like all white parties, but you and I threw one of the dopest all black parties ever. and you ain't say nothing about that when we was
I don't have any problem with all black. I don't have any problem with all black because I can throw on all black any time of the year, and it's not even like a special occasion. It's
right. But
just
you
to
said you don't
me.
like wearing the same thing though. So what I'm saying is, I would have seen you opposing the whole all black party theme if I mean it's only so many combinations of all black. It's just like it would be with the
Oh,
all
here we
white.
go. Here we go. Here we go. When we did our reunion, right?
Yeah,
So our reunion, right? So you had Joe. So you had Joe. You're all black on,
yeah.
right? And your all black didn't look like my all black.
But I feel that same way for the all white though. That's what I'm saying. Like it's still the theme is just the color. It doesn't mean the outfit has to be that because I feel like just like how everybody was different at the all black party at the reunion, I feel like it could do the same with the all white. Did you had a splash of color on the white?
I didn't, to be honest with you. All I did, I wore my Concords, right?
Okay.
Because I was gonna pull out the bricks. I was gonna pull out the bricks, but when I thought about that, I thought, okay, this is gonna be Greek. So I didn't want to violate a class, the Deltas, because it was their thing. So that they had the white and they mostly had the red. They had their like little 1917 pins. And then because it was also Greek, I didn't want to have this assumption that I was a Kappa either. So I was just
Nah,
like,
yeah,
nah, I'm
but
cool on wearing it.
the bricks is more orange than red anyway, though, bro.
Close though. It's a reddish orange color. So I was just like, all right, I ain't gonna trip on it. But I wore the Conquest. I'm glad I did because it was a lot of standing up because the ladies were sitting down and very comfortable though, man. But it was real fire though, bro. I thought about wearing a splash of color on shoes only. But I was cool with just that little splash being black though, bro.
Man,
But
I I,
I ain't
I
never
just
wearing no white
knew
pants, bro.
I just knew you was gonna pull them gold Kobe's out, bro. I just knew you
I
was gonna
got
pull
close. I listen. I tried them on, and I had one shoe
yeah,
next to it, and so what was crazy about it is that it's just the Concourse just hit it better.
yeah.
And the other thing about it too, one thing I thought about as well is that it's Greek, right? So I didn't want to be looking like I'm a Omega up there either, though, bro. So that was another reason why I was like, nah, and sure enough, I saw a dude who was an Omega that was up there with some gold shoes on, though, bro. So I was
Now
just
what
like,
about the blue Concords? I mean the blue 11s.
so the blue 11s that they I so it just didn't look right to
Okay,
me, right?
yeah,
It just not that it didn't look right, it didn't look as good as the Concourse did.
I
That's what
feel
it
you.
is, though, man.
All right.
Yeah. But
So
it
what
was
you
cool though, man. I had a great time with them though, man. Great time.
so what you want to dive into first? We got three big topics I want to hit on. What you want to get into first?
Now, let me tell you this. Okay, I saw this on social media
Hmm.
that of course they had the big scissor concert popped up on my TikTok feed, and I was like, yo, this is real dope. And they had Justin Bieber on there, and when I saw this little clip, real small excerpt of them two singing, and I saw like scissor basically like it looked like Justin Bieber from that little clip, like a 5-10 second clip, that he was kind of feeling this emotion. So she basically was singing to him. And while he was kind of like he was looking down to cry, she lifted his head up and it almost looked like she was inspiring her homeboy, right? Trying to keep his. And I was like, yo, that was absolutely incredible. That in that little moment, though, man. And then, sure enough, of course, with TikTok, once you hit the algorithm and you look at it for that long, you get more and more videos. And somebody says, listen, man, that man was not just going through emotions. That man was going through that Fenty fold, though, bro. I said, oh, no. So then I saw a whole nother longer clip of it, right? And so the boy Justin Bieber is over here nodding off like he is clearly intoxicated, right? And I felt like, dog, my heart just went out for him, though, bro, because he was out there mumbling over the words of the song, skipping some of the words of the song. And I know that she was trying to guide him through it and everything like that, though, bro. And I think that one of the things that was crazy is that they had there was a mark where on their concert tour that they went underground or whatnot, though. And she had to kind of got him to come on over there to make sure they hit the spot. But bro, like the weird part about this though, man, is that I think that sometimes we talk about addiction on the pod, bro, and what it does and doesn't look like to certain people though, bro. But I was like, man, like I was really like my heart went out for him because what's wild about it is that I saw him. He looked more clean cut than I normally would. So I would assume that nothing was up with him though, bro. Like I was like, oh, he looks like he is on the up and up, but despite what everybody say about his drug use and everything though, bro. And when I saw that though, man, I said, golly though, man, my heart just went out for him for everything that he's kind of hinted at what he's gone through throughout his career though, bro. And to be at this point though, man, I was just like, oh my gosh, though, bro.
Not to
Absolutely
mention,
incredible.
unfortunately, we are dealing with the whole Diddy trial, and his name keeps popping up around stuff. So it could be, we don't really know what happened, and I'm not trying to cast anything on him, but I'm just saying his name has been brought up again in the media associated with Diddy because they keep trying to allude to the fact that Diddy was trying to groom him basically, and so allegedly. I mean that's what the videos are a suggestion anyway. But the point is, we don't know what that could have sent him. Prime example, during the Diddy trial, the girl Don Richards. I'm just gonna say Richards. I don't know if it's Richard or whatever they want, but anyway.
I hate when people say Richards anyway. Like if
Anyway,
your name ain't spelled Richard like a black person would, you Richard.
but anyway, it came out that Q from day 26 said that allegedly that she had given him some ecstasy, and that when he woke up, he was in a surrounding, and it was like he felt like that Diddy and them had sacrificed him basically. And so he, I guess at the Breakfast Club, they were trying to ask him about it, and he kind of like I ain't talking about that. But on this last particular interview that he had and on Vlad TV, he kind of broke, and he's been talking about it. Now, of course, since then, Don has come out and refuted it and everything like that. But the point is, when you talk to him about it, it triggers him in a way that sends him to a place. And so I'm just saying, maybe the stuff that's been coming out, whatever might have happened with Justin, might have spiraled him into back to going to dabble again.
Thanks.
So I'm just
Yeah.
saying that like you said, my heart more so goes out to him, because my thing is that the one thing that we don't do, and I get it, Justin is white, but he was groomed under, and when I say groomed, I'm not talking about in that sense. I'm saying groomed as an artist under black people. So essentially he's ours. We claim him, we claim Justin Timberlake. And so
Playing
he's
Justin Timberlake.
right. So they're in that legend status, right? And so we just don't do a good job of taking care of our legends from our standpoint. And so the thing is I would hate to see him spiral into something of an addiction or anything that he might have been struggling with previously, in his heyday.
Yeah. It low key had me also thinking like along the lines of when I last saw like Kodak Black, right? Like I saw Kodak Black on Rap Radar, social media page. They do everybody comes on there and do one. And he did this cover, he did a song on there. I thought that the song in itself was a very kind of vulnerable song where he's basically kind of talking about, drug addiction or whatever though, man. And it's like he's older now, right? And so it's like when you're watching him, he ain't like Kodak the teenager anymore. You could tell he's a grown man, young grown man. But bro, when I look at him and I look at that even with Bieber, it's like, bro, I'm looking at these kids now that are getting older now. And so it's like when those kind of traumas and traumatic experiences go unresolved and untreated and unaccounted for, though, man, you can get to where later on in life you're still spiraling on it though, bro. But it's almost like when you brought up Q from day 26, and it's just like, hey, while it happened when he was early on in his 20s though, it's one of those things. I'm sure that he said that I remember him mentioning that probably it was around 2020 when he finally started to be able to live more comfortably with it and everything like that. But I mean, that was still just, barely 5 years ago. And so you think about the amount of time that, that went by that he was having those kind of mental health issues. And maybe he was seeking the help and it was still a process for him though. But I think that, yeah, bro, it's just to see somebody as an older adult still basically, triggered and still living with something that happened with them for so long ago. It's really like heart wrenching to see though, man. Very, very heart wrenching to see. But I think especially with Justin Bieber, right? Because when you talk about and even Q from that though, man, and not to say that they're same common person as Diddy, but the fact that it seems like allegedly like they were taken advantage of and it was something that was done to them outside of their will or their own right mind doing so. That's where I think that it's real jacked up seeing Justin Bieber specifically like that, but also seeing that this interview from Q coming out around the same time though, bro. It's gut wrenching, bro. Very gut wrenching.
Yeah, absolutely. And I rock with Justin. I rock with Justin real hard. So yeah, I loved seeing him obviously on stage with Scissor because I mean, like you saw when Justin sang it like by himself on how emotional he got singing it then. You know what I'm saying? And everybody just loved his version of it. So it was cool to see them both on stage. But unfortunate that the whole moment was overshadowed by what seemingly everybody is taking and running with what
Yeah, I
happened.
think that the one thing I think that is just crazy to me though, bro. Not crazy, but like how much there how much of people on social media absolutely hates his wife though, bro. Like it's mind blowing the kind of backlash that I've seen her get though. And maybe it's warranted, but it's a lot of people that dislike her though, bro. A lot of people though, man.
Speaking of wives, we could transition there, or we could go to the Diddy. Which one you want to do?
Got it.
All right. Well, speaking of wives, there's some beef going on the intranets between two former colleagues and sports. First of all, athletes, former athletes, and now podcasters, sports journalists in RG3 and Ryan Clark. So we talked about this on the pod a little while ago about Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and the whole foul thing and how people were taking it, making it racial, making it about, Angel Reese is this angry black girl, that Caitlin Clark is perceived to be the protagonist and she's the villain and all of the different things. But RG3 had an interesting take. He basically was saying, like, listen, you can't tell me that this girl don't hate her when she was about to basically try to cold cock her from the back. She was about to basically sucker punch her when she got the hard foul hit on her. And so he was like, I know what hatred looks like. And uh you can't tell me that she don't hate this girl. And all this time she's been trying to say that there's no hate behind it or whatever like that, but you can't tell me after that type of reaction did not warrant that type of foul didn't warrant that type of response, basically from a hard foul, a basketball play. And you want to get up and basically one of her teammates saved you from swinging on her and ending your basketball career. That was the kind of the first statement. So then Ryan Clark comes back, was like, listen, the reason why that boy RG3 can get up here and not understand the plight of a black woman and what they go through, being talked about and always being accused of being the angry black girl, this, that, and the other, is because he don't have them type of conversations at his house, because his current wife and his previous wife are both white. So he can't have them conversations in his house. And so then RG3 fires back and was like, listen, bro, you might not agree with my opinion, but for you to bring my wife and my family and attack us and come, and bring this type of response, like that's the code. Like you just don't bring in wives, you don't bring in kids. That's just beyond the line. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of, and so then of course Ryan Clark claps back. He's like, bruh, I wasn't talking about your wife. I was talking about you. basically kind of the same approach Stephen A had with LeBron. But he was basically like, listen, your wife is a lovely woman. I'm sure she's great, whatever the case may be. It has nothing to do with that. He said, I saved you when we was on ESPN together. And you corny, you was a terrible teammate on the field. You was a terrible teammate on Sports Center. Like, you are just a cornball. Like, nobody rocks with you. And this has nothing to do with your wife. This has everything to do with you and how you would be attacking a black woman, what, blah, 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 blah. So that's kind of the condensed version of what it is. If you want to see word for what they said, you can go and search that out. But that's just the Slash Brothers condensed version of what was going on. But Charlie, first of all, what did you think of RG3's take on the whole deal? And number two, did Ryan Clark overstep? Did he cross the code?
So this is the thing. I think that this is one of the things I think. I think that I can almost understand what RG3 was trying to say, but I think that the part is that I think that it's just him giving his opinion, right? And so then it's like, well, what is your opinion based off of? Is it based off of like facts? Is it based off of experience? What is your opinion based off of? Because like you and I could say, you put a microphone in front of anybody and now you're a podcaster, right? And then it's just like, well, how credible are you? And what is that based off of? So someone could say the same thing to us, right? That Ryan Clark said to him, and that I'm just giving you my opinion. And so if RG3 has said, in my opinion, she absolutely hates her, that's perfectly fine. I'm cool with his opinion. But what I agree with Ryan Clark on is that, bro, your opinion and you saying that is it does come across like you're not mindful of the picture and the narrative that you are basically co-signing that this is an angry black woman, though, right? And it would be one thing if it was a black woman and it was another black woman, right? It's the fact that it makes it look like it's a black woman, white girl. And I think that even though that wasn't RG3's intentions, right? I think that that's Ryan Clark's point, though, right?
Interpretation. But and
You are missing
right.
all of it, though.
The other part I failed to mention, while he was giving his opinion, his wife, who is white,
Is in the background,
in the
sipping the
background
tea.
sipping the tea like it's on Get Out or something. And it does look almost like he's defending the white girl. That's what the perception is.
It does look very, listen, he looks like he's defending a white girl, like he would be defending his white first wife, the white second wife. And listen, I think that as weird as it's gonna sound, something to me looks weird when I see a black guy who's married to a white woman. And I say this knowing one of my best friends is a black man married to a white woman, right? But I think that if you're gonna if you're saying if you're defending, okay, here's what I think about it. If you're talking down Angel Reese to basically talk up or uplift Caitlin Clark, that's the problem that I have. And whether or not you're doing that on purpose or this is unintentional, that's still like I have a problem with that. Into my eye, into my ear, I don't think that RG3 even sees that, right? I don't think that that's even something that he even considered. So maybe him not ever considering that is him truly saying that wasn't my intention. I'm not going to even go there because that's not where I was even planning to go with my take. But I think that the fact that he's not aware of that is the point that Ryan Clark is basically saying. Like, you have no idea. And maybe you're defending this white woman or you're telling this black girl that she's angry, knowing that society paints black women this way. And you're perpetuating that particular stance by you saying that. And you don't even know that. And that's where I think that we say all the times that two things can be true. He could very well honestly just be giving his opinion. Everybody has one. But I think at the same time, though, bro, it's like your opinion and you just seemingly are unaware of how your opinion and with your white wife in the background, who no problem at all with you being married 2 times over now, because I know somebody, one of my best friends, are in that same exact scenario. But when you are basically trying to, when you are basically caping for that scenario, bro, nah, man, like never mind that that's what you intended to do or not. The optics of that just looks crazy to me, though, bro.
All right, I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a little bit. So I understood everything that you said, and I understand what the optics look like. I get it. But at the same time, he's giving his opinion based upon what was transpiring on that particular play, plus their history of the two competitors. As someone who was on ESPN, who now has his own podcast, and who also was a professional athlete, I don't necessarily have an issue with him commenting on his view and his opinion on a sports related topic, even though it was a because the thing is it was a hard foul, so that's where it comes to play on the sports aspect of it. And he just gives the history based upon the previous history that the two women have, and it just so happened that Caitlin Clark is white and Angel Reese is black. The problem I have, though, because just because he's married to somebody is white, he was born from a black mom. He came what?
That part. Listen, that part is a matter of contention that I have every single time. I understand what you're saying, and that's a conversation that's always one of those things where it's a very it's like
But
this.
listen what I'm saying though, bro. When you marry somebody outside your race, that doesn't make you any less of your own race. So what I'm saying is he grew up in a household with black women. His
Right.
grandmama's black. His mama's black. I don't know if he has sisters or not, but they was black. So he knows what an angry black woman looks like. So I get it. Again, I agreed with everything that you said. But at the same time, he doesn't lose his blackness because he married somebody. We ain't got Dr. Umar on here. So he
Okay.
doesn't lose his black card because he married a white woman or didn't have any black experiences because he married a white woman. Go ahead.
Is he gaining any points from his white fan base and white family by defending this white woman with his white wife back there sipping tea, who apparently had to have known that he was going to go ahead and take this stance, right? So it's like, while you're not getting your black card pulled, are you also getting more points on your white card because you've dealt with white spouses, right? And white families as well, white friends, the whole 9 yards.
No, I honestly, again, I'm shooting bail. I'm playing devil's advocate. I
No.
believe that he was having a conversation about two competitors from the WNBA, two of the biggest names in the WNBA right now. He had a conversation about that. Yes, again, the optics is terrible. The optics are terrible. But I'm saying at the same token, if it had been uh any other incidents that would have happened in the WNBA, or if he made similar comments against SGA and Ant or something like that, then he's just still speaking about sports. So,
Sure.
but all I'm saying is I know the optics look terrible. But let's get to the other part though. Did Ryan Clark though cross the line?
No.
Oh,
No,
this
he
thing,
didn't, because I don't think that while he mentioned that he is married to a white woman, I don't think that he said anything derogatory, and actually spoke in a positive manner to his wife specifically, though, right? And said, no, she is a great person. He spoke very glowingly given the scenario to that. So I don't think that what he said was crossing the line or anything like that. I thought, listen, it's not what I would have necessarily said,
right,
right?
right,
But
right.
I don't have a problem with it either, though.
Yeah. Okay. I love Ryan Clark. I think Ryan Clark is one of the most intelligent black dudes that's been like I loved when he was playing sports, but then he was still on, Sports
Facts.
Center or whatever. I love all of that. And I like the Pivot
Yeah.
podcast, all of that. Okay. So get that out the way. I still don't think he should have brought up his wife, bro. I mean, you can't even bring her up. Like, if you have a difference of opinion about RG3's opinion, cool. But when you bring up his wife, it doesn't matter. Like, now, mind you, I do think RG3 went overboard when he said he attacked my family.
Get out my
Like,
face.
yeah,
Get out my face
attack
with that.
is okay. That's a little
Get
strong.
out. Get the hell out my
Yeah,
face.
yeah.
Listen, I think this is my thing about it though, bro.
Mhm.
It's not just RG3. I think that it could be anybody in RG3's scenario.
Mhm.
I think they all can get that same level of work, bro. It's just
But
to
this
me,
is my
that's
thing,
just
though.
how I look at it. Like,
It's just too close to the Will Smith slap, bro. It's too close. Keep my wife's name out your mouth. Like, just stay
but you
away.
got to, but see, he does. See, you can't see because the catch to that is that you do the podcast with your wife. That's why your wife was on there. So you can't say keep my wife's name out of your mouth, and then you do the
Yeah,
podcast with your wife talking about these things.
no. But his wife was in the background. His wife wasn't on the mic. His wife wasn't on the
That's-
mic. And hold on. I'm just responding to what you just said, playing devil's advocate. At the time that he made the statement about Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, his wife was not there. So again, if you had an opinion about what the man said, comment on that. But when you throw the spot, because here's the thing, you and I both know. Let's keep it a 100. You and I both know the only reason why he got that extra smoke is because them two got history. Because that's on the follow up response.
Yes.
That's what Ryan
Yes.
Clark is like, bro. You was
Yes.
a terrible teammate. You was terrible on Sports Center with me. Did it like so?
They played together at Washington, if I'm
That's
not mistaken.
that's
So
why he said he
I
was a
get it.
terrible teammate. So that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. You
I
get
get
the
it.
extra smoke behind that. So
If you listen, listen. I'm gonna be honest, and I'm
um,
biased in this scenario.
yeah.
I am admittedly biased because this is my thing. I want this is the crazy thing about it because somebody was like, yeah, people always when they talk about RG3, they say, oh, that's your boy RG3, that's your boy, and he from Carper's Cove, he out there from
Yeah,
your neck of the woods, and I want to just side with RG3
yeah.
just to be like it's 254 all day long. But I'm very much, and I'll tell anybody this, I'm admittedly biased, and I'm always going to defend black women, bro. And so if there's a scenario ever where I feel that black women are being slighted by anybody, whether it's a black man, white woman, black woman, slight. I am always gonna side with black women, bro. And so for that matter, I feel like, okay, well, listen, if you just said if they hate each other, right? You can say that, but don't say that Angel Reese hates her, right? Don't make it a one-sided thing.
Yeah, but again,
That's
that's what you just said, though, right? You only addressed what he said, and I have no issue with that. You can disagree with everything that RG3 said. You can disagree emphatically, but the only part I had the issue with is because you brought up his wife. Like that's just, I mean, when you say code about stuff, bro, that I mean, he didn't say nothing negative, but you gave him the two shots because you was like, because you ain't just say you because in your house right now you can't have them type of conversations, but then you went and put the extra sauce and said, and your ex-wife is white. Like, that's how you get down. That was the extra sauce, and I was just like, oh, that's
listen,
a
man.
little much, bro.
Ryan Clark is like, listen, you ain't gonna whip my ass.
You saw that in
Ryan
the way
Clark
he
is like,
responded. I
Ryan
want
Clark
all
was
the
looking
smoke.
like you ain't gonna whip my ass. And what?
Facts. Facts.
And
You
did.
ain't gonna foul me like Caitlyn did and Angel Reese. You ain't
Yes.
gonna do that.
And Ryan Clark was like, I said it and did.
Yeah.
And they were and
And
now what? And that's my thing.
you almost made me say the phrase that I hate, and I ain't gonna say it. He was standing on it, and that's
He was standing. He was standing on business out there, boy. Listen, man. I don't listen. I listen.
Yeah,
I want to side with RG3,
right.
but listen, because Ryan Clark perspective
Yeah,
is protecting black women, I'm gonna ride with Ryan. If I gotta pick a side, I'm gonna pick Ryan Clark's side because his side more closely aligns with my feelings
Yeah.
about black women and protecting black women, though, bro.
All right.
Oh,
Well, look,
it's
man, we still got two more topics. Let's move on.
excuse me.
So NBA playoffs. The Thunder had an interesting weekend because, of course, on Saturday they had a 40-point blowout in Minnesota
Mhm.
after being up 2-0. So then Timberwolves took it, and then we had a follow-up game again in Minnesota, and the Thunder ended up winning 128-126. With that being said, we are now 3-1. During the game, Ant-Man only had 16 points, and Randall had 6 points. They combined for a total of 21 points amongst them two, and just J-Dub and Shea, they scored a 73 points. But when you throw that Chet in there, they scored 95 points. What we doing about this series, bro? What we looking like?
Two things.
Yeah,
Two things. You said that all you had to make sure is that we took care of business, home business, win the
right,
home games.
right.
That's it.
And best case scenario is at least win one of theirs. Yeah.
At least one of theirs.
Yep.
So check, check, check.
Yes.
Right. I think that the first one, you can have that. You know what I'm saying? You in front of your crowd, first game to travel, boom, we gonna lock in, we take the second. But that third game, what did Julius Randle have then?
The
What was
third
it? Do you
game?
remember how many he had?
Nah,
The
but he
third
was on
game.
fire. He was on fire on the third game. Let me look.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
uh, yeah, him and Ant was on fire, and they was
Yeah.
out there. They was fourth quarter. They was sitting out.
40-point lead is up. 40-point lead, you front running, right? And this is why I'm bringing it up. 40-point lead, you front running because now you thinking like, all right, your back's not against the wall yet,
Right.
right?
He had 24
I
points.
told you, Julius Randle will no show when you need him the absolute most, right? And it doesn't matter how many times you've seen him ball out.
Mhm.
When the back's against the wall, that man for some reason will go James Harden fast, and he did exactly like I said, like I
Game
told
two
you he
and
would.
game four, he was no show
Game two, and now listen, now they're going back to OKC,
tomorrow.
right? And they're down 3 games,
Mhm.
and I think, bro, traditionally, bro, teams just don't come back from 3-1 leads. It's all but over at that point, though, man.
Now,
I would expect for Julius Randle to give you about 10 or 12 points.
the criticism though has been coming towards Ant because everybody was like, "You were a no show," and Ant was
No
like,
showing.
"Nah, I wasn't a no show. They locked me down. So as the leader of the team, I made the right plays to put us in the best position to win." The score was 128-126.
Sure.
So, do you side with Ant or do you side with the media?
So listen, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. With all things equal, man, this is what we talk about it, where both things can be true.
Mhm.
Because he did lead the team or tied the team in assists for that particular game, but it was 6. We ain't talk about 10,
Right.
right? And listen, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. It does feel like OKC just has his number defensively. They just got the right guys that can give him some problems. Not to say that they could just completely lock him up, but listen, man, they doing a damn good job at getting pretty close to that, though, man. So,
Yeah, but that's what I'm
I can
saying.
totally see.
So that's
Mhm.
kind of where I'm at though, right? As the leader of the team, you're supposed to do the best to make the best decisions for the team. So if you're not on, or if you can see that you can't get your shot, didn't he do the right thing?
I think that he did the right thing, but here's the thing about it, though, bro. If you were the guy, listen, if you were the guy, like we say, like we think, and that you want us to believe, you just can't. You just can't do that, bro. You just can't. But this, okay, this is what I mean by that. You can't. You can't do that in a loss. If you do that in a win, fine, right? If you score 16 points and you say, I was just giving what they gave me, and that's what caused you to win. But when you lose, it's just different. And I don't know why it just is to me that you can't score 16 in a loss, 16 in a win with you having 10 assists.
Mhm.
That's different from 16 and 6, though, bro. It just is, though, man.
So
I don't know, but
is this how we was getting on James Harden for when they back was against the wall and
I was
he
getting on James Harden. It's how I would get on Luca. All of the guys. It's how I would get on PG. It's very much that though, because I only would get on them because if you are what we are led to believe you are, and who I believe, I really do think, and it's that. But Don, you can't. There's nothing that you can do that would make me just ride with you on it. I would understand it, right? If you said, listen, I thought I was just out there making the right plays, like, nah, bro. You know, with you having to win this game,
Mhm.
nah, you can't just be like, nah, you gotta set the tone.
But
There's nothing that you can make me understand that you going with the flow of the game and making the best play. You got to set the tone. You got to be the reason that the pace is what it is, though, bro.
okay, a follow-up question to that. But if they would have won, would he still be getting it like this?
I don't think that he would. And,
Okay.
and the reason why is because, listen, there is no better cologne than winning, bro. Winning will basically get you by, but at the same time, you can't. Like I said, if they win, I don't have a problem with it. And I would like to have seen him get more assists if that's what you walking away with.
Mhm.
Go with 10 assists then, right? That's something that you can say, no, I directly impact. I was doubled out, so I was double teamed, so I kicked it on now. I was drawing a second defender before he came. I got boom, 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 boom. Listen, man, there's not a scenario that I can think of. There is not a series in these NBA playoffs that I can think of that the Timberwolves would win if Ant isn't their leading scorer. So you can say whatever you want to say that you did, though, bro. But in the end, nobody's gonna remember that, bro. If you
And
don't win and do it, nobody's gonna remember.
how much blame are we giving Randall though?
Listen, I'm not giving Julius Randle any of it because I knew what he was going to do. I didn't know Ant was going to do that.
Yeah, but
I knew.
but listen, if you okay, just like when J Dub don't show up, we give it to him because he's supposed to be the Robin. He was the All-Star this year. Julius Randle's supposed to be their Robin, bro. You getting paid a lot of money because you don't expect Gobert to give you 30.
Okay, these is two different side player resumes, though. Right? Their resumes are different, two different. Like I understand what you're saying that both of them are supposed to be Robins, but I don't think that they're supposed to be Robin. I think that it's almost like here's a perfect it's a perfect example. I look at it like, no, one of them's Robin and one of them is the Falcon from the Winter Soldier. They two side dudes, but one's clearly Robin ain't better than what you call it though, bro, than the Falcon. So I think J Dub is the Falcon, and I think that Julius Randle is expected to be Robin. That's it though, bro. Different kind of side guys though, bro.
All right, and real quick, who you got tonight for the Knicks and the Pacers?
Oh man, you know what? I think it's going to go 7 games. So I'm going to say the Knicks will go ahead and tie it up for some reason. I don't know why. If I didn't like, I don't, for the life of me, I don't like that teams will get, I look at it like this. If in a series, if you've given up a 20-point lead in a playoff series and you lose, right? I'm more inclined to pick you in that to say I'm not going to pick you then, right? That's it. If all it takes is one time for you to give up a 20-point lead, and I'm going to go against you every single time. That's why I didn't go against the Celtics. That's the reason why, because once they lost 2 games, all it takes is one, and they did it twice, right?
Mhm.
And so the fact that the Pacers did turned around and gave up a 20-point lead and they lost it, I said, nah, man. So I'm almost now thinking that it's going to go 7. And while I thought the Pacers would win, my rule of thumb is telling me that it might be the Knicks, bro.
Okay. Mr. Haliburton is allowed back in the building. He's allowed for home games. So there's progress being made. I know Charles Barkley and somebody else reached out to Adam Silver and had a conversation about reinstating him to be allowed to come to the home game. So
Hey
there
man,
is
that boy better
progress.
get on. These dads, these dads got to chill out, bro. These dads got to stop trying to be a part of the game, man.
I get that, but I mean, at least he get to watch his son potentially win the championship. So
I can certainly appreciate that. And even if you talk about get there though, man, get some people go their whole career and never get there. So
yeah,
I can appreciate it though, man. But nah, man, these boys better learn to listen, man. Gotta learn that you ain't on the team. You ain't a part of the team though. You are a fan. That's that your son is playing though, bro. But you are a fan, man. Stay in a fan's place.
well, I mean, I done stopped getting thrown out of games when Deuce was playing. So I think I got stopped getting thrown out when he was at AAU. So I didn't get thrown out of any college games. So
Yeah, man. Get out my face. If they banned him, then I would understand it, but I'm okay with them lifting that ban.
all right, man, let's get into it, bro. All right. Former aide of Sean Diddy Combs testified that he kidnapped her in a plot to kill Kid Cudi. Let me just first say we are about to start talking about some sensitive stuff. So if you are triggered by any of the following things that we're talking about, this is reported from the Hollywood Reporter. Obviously, the Slash Brothers are not in court, so this is basically being interpreted from the Hollywood Reporter. So this is what we got. Capricorn Clark, the former global brand director for Bad Boy Entertainment, launched the third week of the testimony in the trial of the Violent Note as prosecutors try to prove Combs in the racketeering conspiracy. So basically, she alleges that she testified Tuesday that hip hop mogul threatened to kill her on her first day on the job and kidnapped her at gunpoint, and as he sought to kill rapper Kid Cudi. Uh, Capricorn Clark's account of Combs' violent tendencies launched the third week of testimony as his sex trafficking trial in federal court in Manhattan. I'm trying to get to the actual. She basically was saying that he relied on beefy security guards or bodyguards, death threats, and the code of silence among frightening staff to ensure that he got what he wanted. I'm gonna get to what she actually was saying. Clark mostly referred to Combs as Puff during her testimony, said that he came to her home that morning with a gun in his hand, demanded that she get dressed and come with him. We're gonna go kill Cudi. Clark said that she rode in a black Escalade SUV to Cudi's Los Angeles home, where Combs and his bodyguards entered the residence while Clark sat in the car and called Cassie. Clark testified that she told Cassie that Combs got me with a gun and brought me to Cudi's house to kill him. Clark said that she heard Cudi in the background of the call asking, "Is he at my house?" She told Cassie, "Stop him. He's gonna get himself killed." Cassie told her she couldn't stop Cudi. She recalled. Combs returned to the vehicle and asked Clark who she was talking to. He grabbed her phone and called Cassie back, she said. Then uh, Cudi's vehicle pulled up. Combs and his bodyguards got in the vehicle and chased after Cudi. Cudi finally giving up because they passed police cars while heading to Cudi's house. After the break-in, um, Combs told people that he was convinced that to convince Cudi that it wasn't him. So basically, this is all alleged that it's going in line with the whole testimony that Kid Cudi's car got blown up, that he was in the house, broke into his house, this, that, and the other. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and it's again showing the whole thing. And she had witnessed Combs kicking Cassie and stuff while she was on the ground, like she was in the fetal position while she was doing that, while he was doing.
Everybody seems to confirm that they've seen him putting them hands on her, bro.
Right.
Hey, listen, bro. They said that this girl also used to work with Death Row Records and Suge Knight. So he took issue with that as well, though, man. And listen, if she said that this is what happened, right, and she's under oath in saying that,
Mhm.
Is it safe to drop the alleged part, or is it that
I mean,
he's saying I wasn't even there?
I'm just saying alleged for us because one, we weren't in court
Sure.
and we're
Right,
so
right, right.
yeah, that's the only
We're
reason why I'm
interpreting
saying
what
alleged.
they're saying. But
Yeah,
I'm just saying though, in general, she's under oath saying this. So
right.
I,
It's
I'm
her
gonna
account of what
assume that
happened.
it's her account of a truth, right? That
Mhm.
happened. That's
Yes.
at least you're not lie under oath though, right? Listen, man, I think that one of the things that's crazy is that at a minimum, it's basically showing the amount of resources that Diddy has at his disposal to make it more of the racketeering and part of the RICO charges, though, man. So I think that that's the first thing, though, man. I think that the other part is that I would love to see. I don't remember Kid Cudi's recount of what happened though, but if she said that he was there in the background, I would think that listen, somebody would call the judge if you're trying to paint that picture to have him testify. Hey, is this what you recall as well? Because then to me that would give more credence to what she actually is saying though happened, right?
Well, his testimony was before hers, and
Right.
right. So I don't know if that even came up because I didn't really dive into what his testimony was. I just know that they wanted his stuff thrown out or whatever. But yeah,
I don't know, man. Listen, I think that the only thing that Diddy's folks can do in his defense is basically, it sounds like he was basically saying that didn't happen, or I wasn't there, basically, though, right? So I think that, and the only people who would be able to confirm that would be his bodyguards, right? But if Diddy says that he wasn't there and his bodyguards would be willing to testify against that, then I mean, I don't know how you
yeah.
how,
Because
how
when
you
you got
hold
three,
that against him, though.
because you got three people basically all saying that yeah, you broke into Cuddy's house. Cuddy saying it, Cassie saying it, and now uh Capricorn Clark. So
Yeah, 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 man. I don't know, man. That is I don't know, man. It's like the more and more I'm hearing. Listen, but like I said, I'm forget the whole Diddy part, right? I think I'm increasingly feeling more and more sorrier for Cassie. The fact that now we got more and more people that are just, yeah, that's regular. He was putting them hands on, like everybody's seen her getting whipped by this man, bro.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
insane to me. Like that's absolutely insane to me that over all these years that all these people then seen that and nobody had did anything about it though, bro. It's absolutely
Yeah,
crazy, man.
because and what the reason why people said that they never said anything because they were in fear of their own life, which goes back to what they're trying to prove in court that people
Yeah.
feared for their life because people were coming up missing, cars were exploding, like all of these different things were happening if you didn't do what Diddy said, because some kind of way you had some sort of ties to him that he could affect your future. So everybody was in fear of their life or their livelihood as to why they never said anything. And Cassie kept going back. So it's, I mean, and I get that that's not necessarily a an excuse, but at the same
Right.
time, it is a part of what people are testifying, saying that that was the reason why they never said anything because they was in fear of their own life. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Certainly more to come, though, man. But it's getting uglier and uglier for me to see how Diddy's defense team would really defend this, though, right? So, especially when the witnesses come out, though, man. And so I think that I don't know, bro. It's like I said, at a minimum, at a bare minimum, man, he is getting smeared so badly that public opinion and it matters. But I think that especially when it comes to the criminal aspect of it, though, oh my gosh, it's still so early on too, though, bro.
yeah, man, great show.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, look, man, we appreciate y'all for joining us. We are the Slash Brothers from ATL to OKC. We appreciate y'all joining us every week, Tuesday, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time and 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And we will catch y'all on the next one. We are the Slash Brothers, Charlie V, Ace Kennedy. We out.
If you smell
The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast.
sucker.